These are the essential things that you need in a VR headset in 2025. And if you're interested, please stick around, stay tuned after a quick word from FS Academy. This video is proudly sponsored by FS Academy, and they've got a new range of mission packs for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 called Interceptor. This all new 30 mission training pack is designed to put your IFR skills to the test and includes a wide range of essential topics such as holding patterns, ILS, VOR and NDB approaches, VOR and NDB navigation, and these techniques you will learn will feel really rewarding and will stay with you forever. Take the first step towards IFR today and embark upon an unforgettable and rewarding journey. Please check out FS Academy Interceptor in the notes below. So welcome back to the channel once again, and thank you for your support this year. It's been incredible. And as you enjoy some VR footage of the Voucher XR4 in this case, in Italy I think, let's go through the major points that I think are definite deal breakers for 2025 for VR headsets. These are the features they must have in order to be relevant in this space. So in this list I've got a top 6, with 1 being the most important. So let's start with number 6. I personally feel the days of the LCD display are numbered, and in fact what we really need is OLED, but of course it's very expensive. But the great technology of QLED gives you almost the best of both worlds. I say almost because you don't get those deep blacks. However, you get a brighter image as well. So there is some trade-offs, and I did a comparison recently with the micro OLED versus QLED displays, and I was very surprised actually with how well the Crystal Super performed when compared to the Megan X in a dark scene over London City. But the thing is about QLED is it's a lot cheaper, because LCD, well, it just uses liquid crystals as a backlight to produce the image, while QLED, known as quantum dot LED, is an advanced version of LCD that incorporates a quantum dot layer to enhance the colors, brightness, and you can even get local dimming with this technology. It really is a great middle ground solution, and in my opinion in 2025 I think it's a must. I know that the Quest 3 only has LCD, but really you can tell the washed out colours and the terrible black levels. I just think we need to move away from that now. It's not essential, but trust me, once you've gone that route, it is very hard to go back. Right then, what's my 5th most important essential feature that VR headsets should have in 2025? Well, it's the resolution, simply as that. I think the resolution should be no less than 2160 per eye, and preferably 2560 per eye to eliminate screen door effect. Ideally 35 ppd should be the standard, and actually with the Crystal Light it has become the standard really for what we expect in image quality with a DisplayPort connection headset. Now, even with the Quest 3, it doesn't quite reach 2160 per eye, and the trouble is with the canted displays that Meta have used with that headset, means you can see screen door effect, and it's an absolute deal breaker in my opinion. It just kills the immersion, and I think in 2025, the word screen door effect should never be mentioned ever again. What do you think? And the 4th most important thing for me is software. VR headsets should always come with a great software package with native motion reprojection support and useful options such as FPS locking, different refresh rate options and settings to adjust the colours, and really ideally an option for OpenXR as a runtime. Although admittedly SteamVR can work really well with the Megan X and the Big Screen Beyond, I always prefer OpenXR simply because there is no middleman between the software and the headset, and it just performs much better. I must admit, headsets such as the Voucher, which I'm using today, has incredible software. The Somnium VR1 has absolutely superb software as well, and the Pimax Play software, which I'm really glad to say in the same breath, is very good now as well. So this isn't such an issue as it used to be back in the day, but I must admit I still think things can improve, and I hope they will. One thing I would like to see is VR software being used inside the headset, so you can adjust things in your headset itself, like Pimax used to do with their old Pi tool. So that would be a great option, and I hope that can come back in the future, if it's not already. Now we're getting to the crunch time, the top 3 things that I really do feel every VR headset that's released from this point onwards should have in 2025 and beyond. And in third place, that is, drumroll please, great lenses. You know what, folks? Lenses are more important than resolution. The optics, the optical stack of a VR headset is so important, and it can be the area that falls down and makes everything very, very uncomfortable very quickly. If we look at headsets such as the old Big Screen Beyond version 1, the terrible glare and the small sweet spot in that headset was a deal breaker for me. I'm glad to say though, what a change. The Big Screen Beyond version 2 has incredible optics, and actually not just really, really good, but the best out there, right up there with the Quest 3. The edge-to-edge clarity is fantastic, there's no warping, and it just means it's a great place for your eyes to be. Such as the Crystal Super as well. I'm glad to say that the aspheric lenses on this headset are the best I've ever seen, with no warping that I can distinguish at all, and I'm very picky with these things. It's a massive far cry away from the Crystal Light that had really strong warping on the lenses themselves. So well done again to Pimax, and it does seem that there is quite a shift in thinking about lenses and, you know, really making sure that this is one of the most important factors, because when you're looking around the cockpit and you're moving your eyes around, it has to feel natural, and if it starts to feel blurry or warpy, it can cause eye strain. Lenses first, then panel resolution. That's really important. So I hope you're enjoying this beautiful footage here over the Alps in the Vario XR4. This is just from the Vario based software. Right, this is it now, the top 2 things. So let's get on with this. I think one of the most important things in 2025 is comfort and form factor. That's got to be right up there as one of the most important things ever in a VR headset. And actually, I've got to mention again the new generation of headsets such as the Megan X, the Big Screen Beyond version 2, and even the Play for Dream. I will stick that one in there as well, because they are all very, very comfortable headsets, apart from the facial interface of the Play for Dream, which has now been sorted, thankfully. But yes, basically those types of headsets, and of course the new Pimax Dream Air, is the future for VR. That form factor has to be a thing now. However, it's not all just about a small VR headset, because that still can be very uncomfortable. It needs to be thought about. For example, the Crystal Super is a comfortable headset, even though the form factor is quite large. As is the Vario XR4 I'm using to record this video. It is one of the most comfortable headsets I've ever worn, even though it is a large headset. So it's not just all about that small form factor. Don't just be fooled by the way it looks. It still needs to have great design. And comfort, well, it's like anything. If you buy a new pair of shoes and after, a few days, if they start causing you blisters, you're just not going to use them anymore. That's a disaster for a VR headset, especially when they cost a lot of money. And that is a great segue into the final, most important thing a VR headset should have in 2025 going forward, and that is great value for money. It's the price. Unfortunately, this hobby is very expensive, like many hobbies are, and actually if you compare this to triple monitors and different hobbies like cars, motorcycle, I don't know, even cycling, whatever it is, it's not actually that bad, to be fair. But it must be said that VR headset prices, I really hope, will start to come down in price. As I've shown the pinnacle of VR technology with, as I say, micro OLED and crazy 50 ppd panels and all the rest of it. Well, all that development and research and technology and hardware will come down in price. And I am really hoping that these panels, such as these QLED displays and these micro OLED panels, are going to become a lot easier to buy in batch and a lot cheaper as well. So fingers crossed, because we need to get more people in VR, folks. Let's be honest here, we really need to get a lot more people in VR, and as much as I want to recommend the Quest 3S, I just can't because of its Fresnel lenses, its low resolution, and the lack of DisplayPort as well. Notice how I didn't mention a DisplayPort connection as a must in 2025. That is because it's getting better, and with the likes of Virtual Desktop and Wi-Fi 7 and all the rest of the new technology in terms of streaming, such as WiGig, I really think that this technology is improving all the time. Now, don't get me wrong, for me personally, a DisplayPort connection headset is absolutely a must because it makes a huge difference. It really, really makes a huge difference. But I appreciate there's many people out there that prefer a wireless solution. So that's why I've kind of put that in there at the end. And even though it's important for me, I think for most people it's becoming less of an essential thing. So there we are, folks. That is my top 6 or 7 essential things that a VR headset should have in 2025 moving forward. I could have made this video an entire hour and mentioned a whole host of different things as well, but I appreciate the YouTube algorithm, you know, it's just not going to work. So I've tried to make this relatively concise as possible, but I would like to know your views. What are your top essential features and functions that you are looking for in a new VR headset? I'd love to know your thoughts, so please comment below. That will do for this video. Thank you for joining me on this flight. And if you're wondering, no, this is not Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, it's 2020. It still looked pretty damn awesome, doesn't it? Have a great rest of your day. Please feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.